Welcome to another wildlife adventure with David Island. In this episode, we are off to an extremely remote island in the Indian Ocean. We will encounter huge crabs and magnificent seabirds, and hopefully hand feed a giant Moray eel that can tear a fish in half in a single bite. So join me on my latest wildlife adventure. This beautiful coastline is just south of Sydney in Australia. Now before we fly off to our remote island in the Indian Ocean, we have some hand feeding of green Moray eels to do. Hopefully our research here will prepare us for an encounter with a giant Moray in the tropics. Green Morays are only small. However, their jaws are extremely powerful and their teeth needle sharp. By stimulating them with baits, I can hand feed these snake-like creatures and have an opportunity to study their feeding behaviour. The first thing I notice is they lose their shyness when they smell the fish blood. Normally, eels prefer to stay hidden during the day and only venture out under the cover of darkness. Sadly, morays are often killed by fishermen. Most species of moray have poisonous flesh, so are not targeted as a food source. But when accidentally caught, it is too dangerous for fishermen to try and remove the hook, so the line is cut. The stainless steel hooks used today will not corrode away and ultimately prove fatal to moray eels. These green morays are still common, but the rarer giant morays have alarmingly declined in numbers due to the use of stainless steel hooks. With so many eels here, competition stimulates aggressive feeding behaviour. But even when I hold the eels while feeding, they still make no attempt to bite me. Hopefully, this behaviour is consistent among the tropical morays, which are 10 times their size. The smell of the baits has attracted a rare electric ray. These weird, alien-like creatures generate over 200 volts of electricity that they use to stun their prey and to defend themselves from sharks. The arrival of this somewhat dangerous animal gives me the opportunity to arguably record the first attempt of hand feeding an electric ray by a diver. The ray takes the fish in his vice-like jaws. He then wraps his body around the fish and begins working the fish down its throat. When he feels my hand, he discharges a full load of electricity into my arm. The pain is intense. It radiates up my forearm and into my shoulder. Then, with full belly, he swims off triumphantly. It's now time to fly to the tropics to search for our giant leopard eel. Christmas Island is an extremely remote tropical island located in the Indian Ocean off the northwest coast of Australia. The island is the summit of a submarine mountain that rises steeply to a central plateau that is dominated by rainforest. The island is surrounded by an encircling coral reef that plummets to a depth of over 1,500 feet within a short distance from the shore. Our goal is to explore this island's unique habitats and to encounter some of its endemic creatures and hopefully find one of the world's rarest giant moray eels, the leopard eel, Gymnothorax fabigenus. Christmas Island's rainforest represents a breeding sanctuary for endangered and endemic seabirds. The forest canopy offers shelter from salt-laden winds, but seabirds are not always clever at landing in dense foliage. Look at this. This poor thing. We've got a red-footed booby here with a busted wing. I'm going to try and catch it. I wish I had a pair of gloves because I know how sharp that beak is. I know, but you've got a broken wing, mate. And I don't want you to take my fingers off. Look at this wing, look, see that? It's just totally snapped. This poor thing, what it's done is it's probably fallen out of the canopy up here. And because they're not very clever at landing with these webbed feet, are not very clever at grasping hold of branches, so they often sometimes fall down through the canopy and break their wings. Oh, you got me on the face, you rat bag. Whoa, your beak is so sharp. But with a broken wing like that, it would have no chance at all down here. And you got me, didn't you? You got me on the face. I know. You're unhappy and you've got a sore wing. I'm going to take this one back to National Parks. Hopefully we can find someone that'll look after it. You poor thing, eh? Come on, off we go. Our stricken booby is not the only bird that has fallen victim to misfortune here. This is the very much endangered Abbott's booby. It's the rarest booby to be found anywhere in the world. And these animals only nest on Christmas Island. They don't nest anywhere else in the world. Come here. Be good. Come on, I want you to sit on my hand. There. That's it. Now you can sit on this hand. Good boy. Out there. Don't peck me. Now what happened, this young chick, it's only a young one, has been saved by the National Parks guys because it's come to land into the canopy. It's fallen through the canopy on the forest floor. The problem then is it couldn't get back up into the canopy and it couldn't be fed by its parents, so it would have starved to death. So the National Parks guys have brought it here and they will raise it and they'll keep hand feeding it until it's strong enough to get out in the ocean and feed for itself. Now these interesting birds, if I can just get you to sit, he keeps showing you his bum, which we don't want. Hang on, turn around, come on. There. Now behave yourself. No, don't peck me. There. You can see why I'd have trouble getting back up in the canopy. Now these are very much diver birds. You can see the webbed feet and they'll hunt mostly bait fish and squid. And you can see that beak is very, very much a a fish-eating beak or fish-hunting beak, and they actually have a membrane that goes over the eyes when they go underwater. They're wonderful, wonderful creatures. My big concern with these animals, because they only nest on Christmas Island, their habitat is being destroyed by the mining here. There is still 62% of the island national park, but mining has destroyed a lot of their habitat where they nest. And I think we should look after and care for their habitat with the greatest amount of vigour. This magic place has all the appearances of the Robert Louis Stevenson's classic novel, Treasure Island. There are even pirates here. Frigate birds are called the pirates of the air. This is a greater frigate which was actually reared here at the national parks, because as a chick it had fallen out of the nest or lost its parents or whatever. You can see by that beak that is very much a fish-eating beak, so they can skim the water and catch squid and fish without any trouble. But the most amazing thing about frigates is their ability to fly. They rival eagles and hawks, the way they soar and dive and twist and turn. And of course, these are the pirates. They often harass other seabirds to get their catch, and they do it very successfully with sharp talons and an awesome beak. Now I'm going to do a little experiment here where we're going to try and hand feed a whole lot of frigate birds, and they're going to come from everywhere. Now I know I'm going to get smashed, especially with that terrible beak. Now I can see a sky full of frigate birds. They look a bit like vultures to me. And I've got a bucket of pilchards. So now we're going to demonstrate just the amazing flying ability of these creatures. And I know I'm going to get smashed. Here we go. Oh, they're not frozen, damn it. Ow! Here we go. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. Ow! Got me big time. And here's a big one, come on. Yes. Look at these guys. Good God. Come on. Yeah. Amazing, they are so clever. Here we go. One. Yes, beautiful. Don't take my fingers. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, gee, that one got me. Those beaks are so sharp. Just the fish. Oh. If only we had bigger fish. Okay, here we go again. Ah. Right, come on, up this side. Somebody take it. Be gentle, you bloke. Be gentle. Not my fingers. Be gentle. Oh, did you see that? Not down here. Gosh, the young ones are not very clever and they're biting my hand. I like the more experienced ones, like that. There's greater frigates here and also Christmas Island frigates, which are only found on this island. Here's one. Someone take that. Not my hand. Yeah. Oh, this is painful stuff. I hope you enjoy this. Don't take my eyes out. Oh, how was that? That was a male with the neck all blown up. The big red pouch. Woo! He's more experienced than the other guys. Okay, we need it. Here's a nice one for an adult. I need an adult. Come on, someone that's clever. Wait a minute. Here. Yes, I like you. You're good. Couldn't you get bigger fish? Okay, here we go again. Not yet, I'm not ready. Here we go. Come on. You didn't get it. Ow! I don't like these young ones. You've got to learn to fly, mate. Watch your old man. That's what I want to see. See the way they use those wings. They're just so clever. If you're a booby and these guys were chasing you and you had food, they would intimidate you so much. Eventually you'd have to drop it because they would frighten the hell out of me if I was another bird. It's funny, they have different personalities. Some of them are a little bit more aggressive than others. Okay, no, not you again. That one bit me last time. It's just so much fun to interact with creatures like this. I just love it. Here he comes. Yes! Was that good or what? Ow. The thick rainforest is paramount to the survival of the endemic animals and birds of Christmas Island. Exploring this tropical jungle is an absolute privilege. Now all through the forest floor, especially in the limestone areas, there are millions of these wonderful Christmas Island red crabs. I've got you, mate. You're going to be a film star. Now don't bite me. Now these red crabs are fascinating creatures because they feed on the leaves that drop from the canopy. The interesting thing is that when crazy ants were introduced to Christmas Island, those rotten little ants feed on these wonderful native red crabs. And when the red crabs disappear, the forest changes completely because these guys feed on the forest floor, they feed on shrubs and plants as well as leaves, and they keep the forest floor relatively open. When these animals disappear in large numbers, the forest floor changes and grows up and chokes. So the crazy ant actually changes the native rainforest on Christmas Island completely. That's why they're such a threat. Now these animals are also eaten by native creatures, and that is the robber crab. And all through the roots of some of these strangler figs and chestnut trees, there are robber crabs. So we'll go and find some of those. Put you back down, mate. Under the canopy of a rainforest is a perfect environment for crabs because it is so moist. And remember, crabs have gills, so they need moisture to breathe. And in here, we have one very large crab having dinner. You can see what he's done. He's actually killed a few red crabs and he's been feeding on them. And he's tapping this foot to warn me to stay away because he doesn't want to share his red crabs. He doesn't want to share his dinner. Can I have your dinner? Can I have your dinner? No. I'm not allowed to have his dinner. If I put my hand up here, let's see what he does. Look at this. He's getting a little bit stroppy. Look, the claws are coming up. Remember, he can easily take off a finger, so I've got to be careful. But you can see under there are 2 crabs that he's killed. So we'll leave him in peace to have his dinner. He doesn't feel like sharing with me. We'll leave you alone, mate. Look at you, mate. Now you can see how clever they are at climbing. If I lift him off without him, in fact I can't lift him off. He hangs on so tight with these very sharp claws that I can hardly remove him from the tree. Or can I? Without getting bitten. I'm trying hard. Come on, now let go. Gotcha. Look at him. Now, it is just amazing that such a huge crab, the biggest crab in the world, can climb a tree. They can climb the highest rainforest tree. And it's all because of these very, very sharp claws. Now if I put him back on, you watch how quickly he grabs onto it. No problems at all. He's heavy and yet he's so strong, he has no problems hanging on. Just amazing. A crab that can climb a tree. I find that fascinating. Pick up my old hat and off we go exploring a bit more rainforest. See you later. Christmas Island has been mined for phosphates for many years. Early mining activities destroyed large areas of rainforest. Thankfully now, over 60% of the island is protected national park, and current mining is restricted to old production sites. But worryingly, applications have been made to expand the mining here. In places like Christmas Island, it would be much wiser to invest in tourism rather than mining. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been wandering around this forest since daybreak, and already the humidity is starting to sap my energy. I'm getting used to this place. I can identify the different sounds, the sounds of the doves and the boobies and the frigate birds that are right up high in the canopy, even the tapping noise of the robber crabs. Here the forest floor is quite healthy. We're not seeing any evidence of crazy ants, and there are plenty of red crabs, and mostly they're feeding on the leaf litter. But there's a sound up there in that direction which I can't identify. It's like a very, very deep, growly sort of breathless noise. I don't know what it is. Better walk up and find out. Now we're getting closer to the sound. The sound of the dragon. This is so strange. It is really, really strange. And down here, you can see what's making the noise. Come down and have a look. This is a deep grotto where rain and ocean water has actually tunnelled its way into the interior of the island, and the sea water is coming into this grotto. As it traps the air, it makes these deep throaty sounds. Just an incredible place to be. It's quite eerie and quite frightening. Listen to that. Swimming in here would be very dangerous because you could easily get sucked back out, and it's hundreds of metres before it hits the open ocean. You'd swear there was something live in there. What we're going to do today is we're going to explore one of these big caves that we can actually walk through. That will be very, very exciting.
Right, you got me. Keep coming, keep coming.
We have just found the biggest mound of poo I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to climb it. If it will support my weight. Oh, it stinks too. And it's not easy to climb. This is not something I expected to ever have to do. I am standing on a huge mountain of poo. Can you believe that? Now either one very big animal did this, or thousands of animals over many, many years. And that's what has done it. Because above me now, there are hundreds of little tiny swiftlets. And these little birds live in this cave, and they've obviously lived in here for many, many, many generations. And the build-up underneath me is the result. This is not very pleasant, I promise you. Not only am I standing on a huge mound of poo, but also they are continually dropping on my head and on my shoulders. And it stinks and it's very hot. So I'm getting out of here. Yuck! Mining may phase out over time, but endemic birds may still ultimately face extinction from predation by introduced cats. Cats are taking a shocking toll on native birds here. Now these steep cliffs that surround this island make for a wonderful habitat for seabirds, especially the brown booby that we have here. Now these very, very clever animals are also doting parents. Both sexes take their turn to go out to sea and bring back food for the little chick that this one has here. They also take it in turns to shelter the animal and protect the chick from native predators like the frigate bird and to give cover from this very, very hot sun. But seabirds that nest on the ground are very, very vulnerable to introduced feral cats. I can't understand why there is no program here to eliminate feral cats from this island. In fact, there shouldn't be a cat here because cats can easily frighten away the parent and take the little chick, which is just disgusting. Up under these thorny bushes, there are, ow, these thorns hurt. I hope you appreciate the pain I go through to bring you these wonderful wildlife stories. But it's worth it because I know you're here. Up in here, I can see one of the most beautiful birds in the tropics. And this is a red-tailed tropic bird. And they can really defend themselves. Watch this. Oh yeah, look. Oh dear. Oh, and that is such a sharp beak. One more. Our tropic birds, they're unlike the booby. They don't have the paddle feet, so they don't dive down to get their fish. They skim along the surface of the ocean and just pick up surface fish early in the morning. They're good parents like the booby, and they also nest on the ground. I don't think they would be as vulnerable to cats as the booby simply because of that. But they nest along the coastline, very, very close to the top of the cliffs. So when they get the really big seas, like cyclone seas, it would take out a lot of nests and a lot of chicks. So that's their biggest problem. They also get harassed a lot by the frigates when they're coming back with food for the chicks. The frigates harass them until they drop the food. So that's a problem for them. Other than that, they're pretty tough. How about saying hello to my camera? Come on, say hello to everybody. All right, all right. By the way, this one doesn't have eggs here and there's no chicks either. So I don't know what all the fuss is about. What's it all about? If you look at this bird, they've got almost like they've got eyeshadow and makeup around their eyes and two beautiful long red feathers, a red-tailed tropic bird. And you can see the colours through the chest. It's just beautiful. It's white with tinges of pink. They're very, very beautiful. Say hello one more time. Leave him alone. All right, all right. When female crabs release their eggs into the sea, they attract their predators. Morays have no problem crushing the carapace of red crabs. But this common species is not the giant leopard moray I have come so far to find. We must now explore the fringing coral reefs and begin our search for the giant leopard eel. Coral reefs die for numerous reasons. There are natural causes like cyclones that tear the reef up, and things like crown of thorns sea stars that will overgraze a large area of coral, and also man-made influence like pollution, and where they anchor on the coral and drag the coral up with their anchors and chains. But the worst thing by far is global warming, which causes the ocean to get too hot, and it literally cooks the coral and it dies. They call it coral bleaching. Now this island drops into very, very deep water because it's a mountain that just rises from the abyss. It's that deep water that keeps cool water coming from the depths that comes up and keeps the water temperature at a decent level, not too hot. Because of that factor, the reefs around this island are pristine. Now I've never dived it before, but I believe we're about to film and experience some of the most beautiful, natural and pristine corals in the whole wide world. The ocean clarity here is second to none. Huge plate corals show no signs of coral bleaching. Spectacular hard corals dwarf me. Anemones and their clownfish are everywhere. I am surrounded by colour. Bright red squirrelfish hide within the safety of corals, and schooling tangs are busy feeding. They flock like birds, swooping as if controlled by a single mind to feed on the algae. There are some strange creatures here. This animal is a sea cucumber. These scavengers feed by sifting the sand. As I pick it up, it defends itself by expelling sticky white intestines. These white threads are toxic to human skin. Amazingly, they can regenerate the expelled intestine. I have found the largest pufferfish I have ever seen. This is a monster. His fused teeth and incredibly powerful jaws can easily shear off my fingers. Pufferfish defend themselves by inflating their bodies with water. Predators would have trouble swallowing them. The toxin within these fish has been discovered to be many times more powerful than morphine as a pain reliever. There are small eels here, but dive after dive is unsuccessful. Not a single giant leopard is found. Christmas Island's coastline is honeycombed with countless caves. Maybe one of these caves will be the lair of a giant leopard moray. The mouth of the caves are decorated by filter-feeding Gorgonian corals. My light allows us to see the true brilliant colours of these lace-like living colonies of polyps. There are spotted morays here, but still no sign of the giant leopard moray. On the cave wall are the Christmas tree-like branches of precious black coral. Black coral is worth thousands of dollars to the jewellery industry. The location of this outcrop I will keep secret. Deeper inside this huge cavern, white-tipped sharks are disturbed by my lights, and to my amazement, I discover I can surface. Here, hidden from mankind, is an ancient cave with stalactites draping from the ceiling. Rock formations formed over millions of years. Here, in the darkness, I feel like I am in deep space. My light illuminates a living star, a starfish. Its suckered arms glow in the blackness. I hoped I would find a giant eel in these caves, but my battery is running low and I must leave now or risk not finding my way out. My dive skipper suggests we try searching a local shipwreck for my giant moray. We're now anchored on the Eisvold, which is a Norwegian ship that was sunk in the Second World War by the Japanese. Now, shipwrecks are a great place to find giant moray eels because the superstructure, the big steel plates, give plenty of shelter for animals like that. This shipwreck is an ideal home for giant morays. Twisted wreckage has many hiding places. The wreck has resident batfish, but no eels to be seen. Even under the huge anchor is also unproductive. But some common morays are living within a pile of anchor chain. These eels are stockier than the green eels we fed in Sydney. They wrench far larger chunks of flesh with each bite. By having half of their bodies entwined in the anchor chain, their pulling power is awesome. I am pleased with the encounter, but these are not my giant leopard moray, and time is running out. After weeks of searching, Linda, a local diver, hears of our quest and gives me the information we so desperately need. Have you ever seen an eel like that?
I've only ever seen one. There's one that actually lives just in Flying Fish Cove here.
Down here. Within the island's harbour is a mooring, a massive concrete block anchors it. Hiding under this concrete slab is a giant leopard eel. Gymnothorax fabigenus. This eel's jaws have incredible strength, but how he will react to handheld bait is totally unknown. This monster eel is far bolder than the other moray eels we have encountered. But like all species of moray, a single stainless steel hook can end the life of this rare animal. This huge eel is the most magnificent I've ever seen. His speed and swimming ability is amazing. His slippery skin has disruptive coloration. The leopard-like spots camouflage his outline. Power to weight ratio. He is arguably stronger than any marine animal. With each bite, he tears flesh away with powerful jerks, sometimes ripping the fish completely in half, other times pulling, twisting with incredible force and determination. Hand-feeding this creature is dangerous, but I know we are achieving film footage that will give us valuable insight into the feeding ability of this secretive, rare marine predator.